Well, this is Carrie Migalski with St. Gabriel Catholic Radio, 1580 AM, and we are blessed to have here on the station in Columbus, Kelle Rhoads, musician and brother to late guitarist Randy Rhoads. Mike Barone is sitting with us, and we are talking with Kelle today about a unique story of his family's journey of their faith in Christ that carried them through generations of triumph and tragedy. How God inspires Kelle's work as a classical composer and musician, and how the past generations of his family used their musical gifts that God gave them. Kelle, welcome to Columbus.
And thank you for having me. It's an honor to be a guest on your radio network today. So I thank you for the invitation and the opportunity to share.
Oh, we're happy to have you. So we are. Let's start by talking about maybe your family background.
Okay.
You've been teaching music for years with your mother, Dolores, at the Musonia School of Music in North Hollywood.
That's correct.
But you also mentioned that your family musicians go back 150 years.
They go back quite a ways. When my mom was a tiny child, her great-grandfather passed away, and she was raised in San Bernardino, California. She had to go back to Illinois, where the Kelle farm existed, and she went back as a small child to attend her great-grandfather's funeral. And she learned that there had been people in her family, that went back a long, long ways and played in brass bands. Now, marching bands like what John Philip Sousa did, some of your audience will know who he is, some won't. He was considered the March King. And they were the rock stars between like 1880 and about 1910. We had people that were in our family that we can trace clear back to those type of orchestras and bands. And when my mom was born, her parents were musical as well, but her dad actually was a doctor and a surgeon, and it was during the Depression times. And what happened was he would occasionally take in a musical instrument or food or another type of commodity as in trade for his medical services, because people couldn't afford to pay. This was before and during the Great Depression of this country. And she ended up with a cornet, which is very similar to a trumpet. Most people wouldn't know the difference. Anyway, she already started at piano. When she was 6 years old, she started playing piano, but she all of a sudden inherited a cornet. And that led to her branching out and eventually mastering a lot of the brass family. She plays French horn, cornet, flugelhorn, trumpet, just about any brass instrument with a valve she can play.
Wow.
So once she discovered that her history went back very far in music, she was inspired to continue it and eventually get her degree in music. And she met my father, who was also in music, and they actually were teachers.
And did they teach together? Is that where the
did it
music
first.
School started?
They did it first. The music school was formed with three partners. They all three taught in the Los Angeles Unified School District. They would teach band and orchestra students during the day, and at the afternoon time, at about 3 o'clock, later than 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the school, which is still in existence and still is in operation after 62 years of continuous operation, people would come for private musical lessons. All three teachers, my father, my mom, and a gentleman named Dr. Coleman, he was a musicologist, and they all three had students, and they taught privately. And that was successful. So we had to increase. And at one time, I think this was when I was really, really, really small, so I don't remember it, but I was told there was 9 people on the staff, 9 people teaching music at any given time. So we had to expand, and we had to make the school bigger. because we had a really good demand. The school has a much smaller student population now than it did then.
So you and your brother Randy, you played since you were young?
My brother started when he was 6 years old. The story how he started is very interesting. My grandfather had a guitar, acoustic guitar, no electric guitars in those days, that he played for entertainment and for fun. And he would play, and my grandma would play the piano, or she would dance, and my mom was a little kid, and she would watch, and I guess she'd chime in when she could. Mm-hmm. And my brother discovered this guitar when he was 6 years of age. Mm-hmm. And it was way bigger than him. Mm-hmm. So he had to put it on the floor to play it like this. Mm-hmm. So he played the guitar literally by laying down and stretching his arms out like somebody who's swimming.
Oh, very cute.
And that's how he started. I started, as I told you a little while ago, with wanting to play drums. Mm-hmm. And so we took lessons at the school. Mm-hmm. And we started right there, taking lessons at the school, learning our instruments. And eventually, we became teachers there. And my brother was a very successful teacher. He had a lot of students. He was one of those rare people that could not only be an astounding virtuoso on stage, but also teach and inspire people. A lot of times you don't have that type of a situation where somebody can do both.
Right.
They do one or the other real well. In his case, he did both. So our start in music was right there at the family school.
So we were discussing earlier that your mom raised you as a pretty strong Christian family household.
Right.
So
we were raised in the Lutheran faith, and we also attended a Lutheran parochial school.
Okay.
And we were involved in the activities and things that the school put on. And those sometimes included musical activities. There's a very well-known picture of, I'm 12 years old, and my brother's about, he's almost 8. He's 7.5. And it's a stage band. That would be a band with about 2 or 3 trumpets, a couple of saxophones, string bass, piano, drums. And I'm playing the drums, my mom's directing it, and my brother is so tiny that the guitar is covering him up. But if you look real carefully, you can see his glasses and you can see his arm around the guitar. And that was taken at our church. That was a fall festival, like a Halloween type of event.
So how did your mom feel when Randy went off and started playing with a band that maybe wasn't a Christian band?
Well, let's back up a little bit, because I'll address your question.
Okay.
But to be quite honest with you, my mom was not so gung-ho about us actually being in bands and doing music. Mm-hmm. She didn't think that was a very good life.
Yeah.
And she was right. But there was no stopping.
Moms know best.
Right, moms know best. And remember, the end of the music business that she was in primarily concerned teaching, although for a while before she had her children, she was in the Glendale Symphony Orchestra out in California, which is about 1 or 2 notches, or was at that time, below the Philharmonic. Mm-hmm. And she played in that. And I have no doubt absolutely that she wanted a career to concertize and to play in orchestras. Mm-hmm. But at some point, she had to make a choice. And if she was going to have children and run a music school, she wasn't going to be able to do both, because she wouldn't be able to tour and she wouldn't be able to concertize. So she decided that she would go ahead and raise a family and give up on that. So we come back into that later, because she certainly lived vicariously through my brother, and it was real obvious that she kind of like wanted to see the world through his eyes, really encouraged him, and realized that one of her children was extremely gifted.
Okay.
But at first, she tried to talk us out of it. She said, you better rethink this. Go to school. Go to college. Don't be wasting your time with this stuff. It's not likely that you're really going to be as successful as you think.
Right.
So she was against it at first.
So as far as the music that you do now, though, you are a classical composer.
I am a classical composer, and my niche is that I compose music principally for the pianoforte. The type of music that I compose is heavily influenced and similar to music that was written in the Grand Romantic period for piano, approximately between the years of 1830 and 1860. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm inspired and called to do. And it makes very, very little money.